Hello, everybody. My name is Sean Murray, and this is my Module 6 crew discussion. So, the criteria that I used to look at the section of books I picked is crew, obviously, which stands for continuous, review, evaluation, and weeding. Part of crew is also the acronym MUSTY, which stands for misleading, which would be books that are not accurate. The U stands for ugly, which would be like physically worn out books that can't be fixed. Superseded means that there are newer, better editions available. Trivial means that it doesn't have any literary or scientific merit. Irrelevant would mean that it's not relevant to the needs of the students in my school. And then elsewhere would be that it could be easily found somewhere through another source. So the search limitations, I was looking at the Gritsky Middle School Library in Austin ISD, which is where I work, and specifically I limited it to the fantasy genre. There were 1,159 titles in that section. So what did I find that needed to be removed? Honestly, not really anything. I talked to my librarian, and she said that they had just recently weeded, so there wasn't much to find there. And she did say that she has a couple of books that she had pulled that had been worn out, but they weren't from the area that I was looking at. So I tried to figure out maybe some different ways to look at it to try to find some things that might need to be weeded. So one of the things that I did was I looked at copyright dates to see what kind of older books that we have in the library. But what I found is that, one, most of those books are really famous works, like Narnia books or Lord of the Rings, things like that. And the editions that are in the library are newer editions, and they're books that kids still check out. And in fact, I teach a class called Quiz Bowl where some of the kids in the class have they focus on literature in particular, so I know that they are checking out a lot of those older, more classical works. So they're still relevant and in use. So I didn't really find anything that way. I did think about, the possibility of being able to find some of the works in different places, and there's always the possibility that maybe you don't need something in there because kids can find it at the public library, or it can be at other libraries, and we can use it in our library alone. But that didn't really make sense either, because kids are, using these books, and it would be harder for them to get their hands on them. There are other ways to access a lot of the works in this section through digital versions, but I kind of feel like having both print and digital versions, especially of books that the kids really like, is beneficial. So I didn't really see that as a reason of taking anything out either. It's hard to tell is for misleading and trivial. I didn't see anything that stood out to me, but I also have not read all the books that are in that area, so it's hard for me to determine whether or not there was anything that could be weeded based on that. But overall, when I'm thinking of, has the library been weeded effectively, I'd say yes. All the books were in really good shape. Most of the titles that I recognize anyway are books that kids definitely check out. And like I said, my librarian had weeded recently, so I didn't really find much, but I did enjoy the experience of going through and looking at the books and trying to find different ways to look at this to see if maybe there were other ways to determine if things need to be weeded. And that's my presentation. Thank you very much.